Looks like it is going to be a day of the experiments. So first of all, I would like to test my new Nanlite 240C against the sun. So I will recreate both scenarios with the Scrim and the neck and see if Nanlite is powerful enough to combat the sun. It should be. Then I would also test this mystery light from Jointech as a hair light. It seems it is a really great light. Should work well in this scenario. But this would be with the neck only, because with the Scrim I don't need a hair light. The sun would be the hair light. Then I would also test my Fossibot F800 at the same time. If it is powerful enough to power the whole setup. I mean, the setup would be 2 lights, so that should be enough. And Atomos draws around 12 watts. And also someone suggested to set up a courtesy above the camera. So I'm doing that with the umbrella today. It's kind of weird setup. Like, this stand does not have umbrella mount, so I put a Godox balance bracket, and this bracket has an umbrella mount, so I mounted the umbrella here, and at least it is a courtesy for the monitor. And maybe I could angle this, but the shadow is not that big. I thought it would be bigger, and I have to be aware that umbrella might end up in the shot, so I have to angle it correctly to not have it in the shot. But other than that, at least for the monitor, it works great. Would be nice if the camera is in the shadow too, because then it won't overheat. So I guess I would start from the test shot without any modifiers, and then I will build the set to have everything like it should be. And the thing is that with the Scrim I'm going to build the flag also. So see you in a bit. Okay, so this is just a test shot to establish the frame. So you can see that my face is in the shadow, and actually I got a really bad highlight on my hair. And with the Scrim I would try to build the, I'm kind of afraid that this umbrella is going to hit the camera. Hope not. Anyway, with the Scrim I would try to build the flag on part of the Scrim with some chiffon. So we'll see if that works with chiffon and clamps. Not sure it would work, but I will see in a moment. So that's the frame. I hope the stands are not in the frame. That one is not. That one is not. Anyway, that's the frame. I hope that this frame would work with the Scrim. And I have to be quite quick. I guess I got like 2 hours, because the sun is going to hide behind the house. So I would lose the sun, and it is actually really hot. But I took my cap off to showcase that bad highlight on my hair. Although I do not have this highlight on my forehead as before, but probably with the Scrim that would bounce more on my forehead. So probably I would have it. That's why I would have to build the flag on top of it. But I guess I would start from just the Scrim and see how that works. So see you in a bit. The Atomos is running from the Fossibot now. The camera is under the courtesy, so it shouldn't overheat, although the battery compartment seems not to be in the shadow. So I have to move the umbrella a bit, and then during the shoot I would probably have to move it farther to my left, because the shadow would move with the sun. So it's not the best solution, but it's better than nothing. Okay, so I have Scrim set up, and I forgot to mention that I am also testing new systems. I got them with 60% discount. There are Kupo systems, and they go up to 3 meters and 30, so like 11 feet. So they are upgrade from my normal stands, which were going only to 2.5 meters, and they are more substantial, and it's easier to attach the shot bags to the legs, so like seems it's really good upgrade, but I'm testing if they, for example, do not fall off on me. So another experiment today. So it is kind of windy today. I hope that sound would end up okay. I got a dead cat on my laugh, but I got a Scrim setup. I think it's out of the frame. Yes, it is. And actually, I guess I'm still hit by the sun, but maybe not. Like, yeah, it's, I guess the Scrim is either too high or it is too far to the front. So I will lower it down a bit. And not sure it helped, but it seems like on my back the sun still hits me from here down, or maybe even higher, because I can feel the heat on my back. And I think I got those two ugly highlights on my face, but I wonder what is the exposure on my face. It actually looks good without any additional lights. So I will grab the light meter, and I'm recording with 5 stops of ND, if I'm not mistaken. And I have connected the camera to the USB charger to be on the safe side from the battery perspective, and it is also powered from the FOSSI-bot, but I risk the overheating. But let me see. So there is a light bouncing of the dome on the pool. So might be the case that it actually bounced on my face. I can actually use the light to block it. So we'll see. It seems like I got proper exposure on my face. Yeah, I got 5 stops of ND. And it is f4.5, which is okay for S-Log. I'm shooting as always at f2.8, ISO 800, and it is S-Log 3 Cine this time. So the monitor is too small to actually judge too far away, but I think it doesn't look bad, probably except this highlights, because I think I got the highlights. So I will bring the light to block this light, which is bouncing off the dome. It definitely hits my face, so I will try to block it. So I have blocked the bouncing light with the light, but the exposure on my face haven't changed, but at least I'm not blinded by this reflection behind. So I don't know, maybe 5 stops are not enough, but I will also try to build this flag on top. Yeah, I think I still got some highlight from the Scrim, which is good, but I think I got these 2 highlights on my forehead because the Scrim is bouncing light, so that doesn't look good. I will try to change the exposure to 6 stops, but I think that with 6 stops the background is too dark and I still see these 2 hot spots here. So now I will try to build a flag on top of Scrim. So I will lower it and build a flag from the chiffon. I will see how that goes. Chiffon kills around the 3 stops of ND, so like this should go down by 3 stops, and that would be nice. So let's see. So far I haven't used the light actually, but I guess, judging from the screen, the background is too dark now, but it's hard to say actually. And I can see that some light, I think, hits my sleeve here because it's really bright. So the Scrim should be lower or should be pushed to the back. But the problem then would be that the stance would be in the frame if I push it back. so I don't have much of the wiggle room today, although I can also move the camera to the side a bit, because there is some object in the background I have to avoid. So, but I think the 6 stops are too dark, so go back to 5 stops, and that way I don't have to use the light. Although maybe I should bring the light now to see how that looks. Yeah, that's a good idea. So I got rid of the dome on the pool because that was bouncing the light. It was really annoying, but that haven't changed the exposure on my face. Actually, I got the light on my right, but the exposure on my face is 2.8.5, so it is actually probably okay for the S-Log, but I will check the light anyway to see if it's even able to change the exposure. It's with the lightest diffusion now. Yes, it's able to go to f4.3, which is actually really impressive. It is running at 100% now, which means that probably the exposure is even too high on my face with 6 stops of ND, because I would rather opt, after experiment yesterday, to go to 4 stops max, like 1 stop over on my face for S-Log, or even 0 stops over. But in that case, my ambient exposure is above f2.8, so I guess I can go and see. And without the light, I was drawing 24 watts from the power bank, and now I will check. Now it is 274, so the light draws 250, but actually I will go and change the exposure to have just 4 stops, so that would be drawing less power. I don't know, it's definitely not bouncing the light because it's in the shadow completely, but it shows f4.1 all the time. So at 50% it is f4, which I think would be proper exposure. I really need a bigger field monitor than this 5-inch Atomos. So yeah, this is the look with Nanlite 240C running at 50%, 5600 Kelvin, and that's the look, and 6 stops of ND. So this is really impressive, and this is like, I think, more than a meter from myself. So I will just bring the measure in a moment and see how far away it is, but it's just barely out of the frame. I will show the setup on the other camera in a second. So that's that. So that's the look without with the light. That's the look without the light. It's subtle difference, I think, but there is the difference definitely. So yeah. Okay, so that's how the setup looks like now. So the light is touching, actually the Scrim, because the Scrim is at 2 meters 25 centimeters, so 7.5 feet. Might be not high enough for the rim light, we'll see. So now I'll try to mount or build a flag on top of the Scrim. Okay, so I have built the flag out of the chiffon. Maybe I'm kinda missing like 2 clamps. Maybe these clamps are still in the shop. So I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clamps, and I only got 8. The problem might be that if this is windy, then this would flap on the wind, introducing a noise and might change the shadow pattern. I'm not sure. I think it's visible that this part, that this part of the shadow is lighter and this part of the shadow is denser, but I'm not sure it's visible in the camera, but it seems so, like it's in line with where the material flaps. So we'll see if this is a good idea or not. And you can see the shadow of the chiffon actually here. So if it flaps on the wind, it is less dense. If it's like that, it is denser. So let's see if it changes anything regarding my highlights on the forehead. So as you can see, it doesn't help with the highlights, but it doesn't help with the highlights here. But when I move like here, the highlights are gone, but I still got really nice hair light. So I think I should attach it the other way around. So that should be, instead of in front of the Scrim, it should be at the back on the Scrim. So actually I think that worked. Maybe there are still some slight highlights here, but they are nothing big, because now I'm in the part of the shadow which is created by the chiffon, and I don't think there are highlights on my forehead, which is really good. But I can see really nice hair light from the Scrim. So actually this is quite nice, and this is still at 6 stops of ND. So I will try to mount it backwards. So to prevent chiffon from slipping, I've put small wooden plank here, like it's piece of a trim or something like that. Hope it won't fall on my head. Shouldn't, but this would prevent the wind from taking the chiffon, because actually it seems that the wind is from front of the chiffon, so that might fly away. And now I actually got 10 clamps, because I got also these bigger clamps which are also okay. So let's see how that works now. Now I think I got rid of this ugly highlight on my head. Maybe it's like really small bit of it, but I don't think so. But the monitor is quite far away, and of course someone have to use angle grinder. It's like angle grinder time here, and the angle grinder time here is anytime. Anyway, I guess my exposure on my face is now different, even though this part of the Scrim is still reflecting the light, but it's probably reflecting light forward. And the con is that really the silver frame on the Scrim is not a good idea, because there are reflections all over the place. So the exposure is f2.9. That means I need external light, or I need probably I would have to, although the Scrim does not impact the background because the shadow is cast forward, so that shouldn't be a problem. The small problem might be then in a few minutes I would be probably out of the shadow, and I think I almost got rid of actually this, almost, like this reflection is probably because I lowered the Scrim on the back. It might be in the frame, I don't see it, but that means I would try to introduce the light first to see. So it is definitely changing the exposure, but f2.8 at 50%, but it's angled, it's not angled right, so I have to fix it. The easy test is to run the finger on the, and if I can see the finger, that means that it is probably in the frame. I think it's not, but maybe just on a verge. So the exposure is f2.8.3 with the light, which is actually nice. Now I get this ugly reflection here, but like actually the Scrim should be a bit farther back, but then the stance will be in the shot, so yada yada yada. I won't fix it, it's just a test. And without the light, it's f2 and 8/10. So definitely 50% introduces 1.1 stops of the light, which is really, really impressive for 250 watt light running at 50%. So I'm going to run it at 100, and it is f2.8.7. So I doubt this linear, but so I'm not able to run it at f4 at this distance. I think the distance changed a bit, but, and I don't know what is the distance, so I have to bring the tape measure. Anyway, it seems that exposure on my face is now okay. I probably got rid of this ugly hotspots, and this light gives me proper exposure with a diffusion attached. And I guess if I remove the diffusion, that would be even better. But maybe there are still these highlights. Hard to say. They would be gone with the neck, definitely. So that's the setup with the additional flag made of chiffon. This chiffon was like $3 maybe, and the clamps were $10. So the flag is, so I've built the flag for like 13 to maybe $15. I need more of these clamps, so I hope they are still in the shop. And so far the 240C is really amazing. So maybe I would remove the diffusion and see. I mean, I should have one more stop of light. They say this diffusion is 1.5, but I think it was just one stop change. So let me try it. And these Velcro hooks are horrible. When I was deattaching the diffusion, they were flying all around. So I had to stop breathing because I would breathe them in, like yesterday, and I've actually breathed them in and ate them. So let me turn this on, and definitely it is much more visible now. Might be even too bright. f4.4, which means like either perfect exposure for S-Log, or it is like this 0.4 stops. Too much, because I think if you expose the face 1.3 stops over in S-Log, it is too much. So definitely this light is bright enough to combat the sun. Although I'm not in the direct sun, I'm in the shadow, because I created the shadow with the Scrim, but actually that would be probably the setup you'll use. So really, really, really impressive light. And it is running from the battery, which is also really impressive. I would check the status of the battery. So it says that with the full power, so 273 watts that would, and the diffusion flew away, it would be okay for next 73 minutes. So I would probably like to have bigger power station, but if I would shot something for an hour with this light, it would be okay to power the light and camera and monitor. So it's quite impressive. So that's the look with the light at full power. Maybe I should like tame it to f4. So let me try 80%. Maybe without the diffusion it would be even less than that. So 60% to have f4. Like, really? It's looking amazing. So judging from this small screen, I know that Nanlite 240C is enough to combat the sun with 4 stops of ND, which is really impressive, and it's not even running at full power now to have this exposure. And I will change to 5 stops to see, because the 5 stops might be actually better for this scenario. So let's see. So now 5 stops, so seems like I'm overexposed probably. I think that there are small highlights here, but they might be from the light. So now I'm probably at f5.6, f4 0.8. So I should tame the light down to, like, I don't know, 30%. It's still too much, but that might be the case that with this, no. So without the light is f2.8.9, which seems like a kind of proper exposure on the screen. With the light on 30%, it is f4.4, so at 10% is f4.1. At 8% it is f4, so 8% gives this 0.1 stop, I think, 0.2. So yeah, this is at f4, so light is running at 8% without the diffusion. Quite impressive. I think this might look better in terms of the background, like 5 stops would be probably better. So, but I think I see small highlights on my forehead, but they are not from the light. So the light introduces only slight subtle change in the exposure, but it is there. So I could definitely use even the denser diffusion with that light, but I kinda don't want to attach it and deattach it because of the Velcro hooks, which I would inhale then. Very terrible thing. I would write to Nanlite definitely about this, and maybe would see if there are any better diffusions for 2x2 panel. But anyway, that's the look at 5 stops with the chiffon as a flag on the Scrim, and I think it might look really nice. Although maybe I would also check f4.3 at 20% without the diffusion. Really impressive stuff. So yeah, that's the look at 5 stops. Now I will swap the Scrim with the neck, and I will introduce the hairlight to have a full control of lighting. Like there would be 2 lights, this one and the hairlight, and I will see if this is any better. So now I have the neck attached. I think I'm at 5 stops. Yes. And it got definitely darker. I also moved its f2 and 9/10, so almost f2.8 exposure, which is on the verge of being okay with the S-Log. And actually that is the exposure without the any light. The problem is that sun is going to my left and I'm already almost out of the shadow, so might be the case that I would have to move here in a second, which probably is not the end of the world. But that way I can even have the light more properly set up, but I think I can still see the small portion of the neck in the frame. So now it is like the end is at 2 meters and 20 centimeters, but in the front is like 3 meters high because I mounted it with a slope. So yeah, so I guess I will, I mean, doesn't matter probably, but seems that the background got darker with 5 stops and the neck. Not sure why. Maybe some light was still bounced on the background with the Scrim, probably. Okay, okay, so maybe for a moment I will be here, but which hand is it? Yeah, so you can see that sun is already trying to hit me, so maybe I will be here anyway. No, I'm moving here. Fuck it. I should be probably here from the beginning, but so I put the mark into the ground and f2 and 8/10. So let me introduce the light, the key light, I mean. And it's at 20% without any diffusion. I think it looks nice. It's f2.8.8. So I'll go to 27% is at f4. So I think f4 should be okay. And it is at 5 stops of ND, because 6 I think would be too dark in the setup with the neck. And now I will try to set up the hair light, because that's the missing part. So yeah. The small con of this light is that you can increment this in percents only, so 100 steps, not tenths of the percent, but I mean it's a really small con. So I will try to attach the hair light, and the hair light actually can run out of its own battery for probably an hour or something. So maybe, I don't know if I will attach it or not. I will see in a second, because I'm actually not drawing that much power from the battery bank, because the light is just off and on, so that shouldn't be a problem. So I guess I will attach it to the battery, like to the power station. The small problem will be that I would have 2 different applications to control the key light and control the hair light, but it's probably not end of the world. So let me set it up. So now I have moved to the other side of the frame, because actually the shadow is moving really fast to my right. The sun is moving to the left on the sky, and I have the hair light, but I'm not sure it's in the frame or not. I think it's not. So if I turn the hair light, I think it looks much better. So I have full control, although now I can see that if I'm here, the highlight on my forehead is back. I think, maybe I'm wrong. It's really hard to see on this small monitor, even though I moved it farther forward. Anyway, that's the hairlight. If I got the talent here, I would be able to tune it in, but this hairlight is running at 100% and CCT is 5600 Kelvin. It has green magenta correction, and now at 100% the power bank delivers 137 watts, and it says it would be okay for next 2 hours. So that's that. So let me introduce the key light, and I think now I'm closer to the key light. So what is at f4, so actually nice exposure, and it is at 27%, 5 stops of ND, and I still don't have a tape measure. I will bring it in a second. At 27%, this light gives me proper exposure without the diffusion, but I think you don't need a diffusion. It looks really nice on the screen, but I would double check on a bigger screen. But it's really impressive. I would check how much wattage is drawn. Now with these two lights, 203 watts are drawn. This can deliver 800. So I think so, 800. That's the name. So let me check the hair light. It is less visible when the key light is on, I think. But I think the setup with the, and now actually I have to move the courtesy, and the camera is in the sun and there is some oil leaking from the ND filter. It is so hot, but I mean, I think this looks really nice. I'm not sure about the hair light. Maybe it's a bit too much to my back, but maybe not. I can tune it to a degree. Not sure it's better. Maybe I introduce the highlight. Hard to say. Maybe not. I have to juggle between two apps, but it's not that bad as I thought. I think that the highlight is not there yet with this angle. So, yeah. Really, really, really nice. I think I would bring the diffusion. Why not? I can probably eat like 2 hooks. I'm quite hungry. So maybe I would bring the denser diffusion. I still should be okay to expose it correctly with 5 stops. And I'm kind of surprised that, maybe not that surprised because it's a neg, but it is really impressive that that light can give me proper exposure with 5 stops of ND, and actually the ambient light is like full sun. There are zero clouds, so really, really impressive. And that's the hair light. Yeah, I think the hair light is really nice in this case, although maybe it shines a bit on my bald spot, but it's not the hair light fault, but it's my hairline fault. Anyway, let me bring the tape measure and the diffusion, although I will turn off the lights to conserve the power. So I brought the diffusion. It's in the bag because I treat it as a contaminated material. I will attach it in the moment, but first I will check the distance. So the distance from the panel to my face is 110 centimeters, so almost 4 feet. And I want to check the exposure at f2.8 actually, if it's possible, and should be possible. I think it was possible at 8% or something. It is f2 and 8/10, so at 1% it is f2.8.1. So let me check other values. f2.8.4 at 7%. f2.8.8 at 15%. Where is f4? f4 is at 20. So this is f4 at 20%, and now I will attach the grid, and it's really windy, and the new stands are much better than the ones I got before. The umbrella almost flew away, but I think this light looks really dope, both of them actually. Yeah, really nice. Okay, let me attach the diffusion. So the diffusion is attached. It is now probably 1 meter and 5 centimeters from my face. There's the hair light, and now that's the light. This is the stronger diffusion, so this f2.8.1 at 20%. So this gives 0 to EV to the look. So let's go to 40 maybe. At 40 is f2.8.3. At 60 f2.8.5, so kinda linear. At 80 it is f2.8.6, and at 100% f2.8.8, so I think exactly what I got indoors yesterday. I think it's a good look, although now it's more power, much more power, probably like almost 400 watts, but it is probably a softer look with this diffusion. It's really milky, although there is this dark bar in the middle. I think it's not a problem, but this Velcro is terrible. So even though I was attaching the hooks, even though I was attaching the diffusion, the Velcro hooks were flying all around because I have to attach it, reattach it to attach it correctly. Some places are already deattached. So f2.8.8 with full power. So both lights running at full power. There are 5 stops of ND. I hope so. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, around 5 stops. Maybe it's a bit over 5 stops because it's just a manual filter. So, but that's the look. That's the final look with 2 lights, and I will check how much power they draw now. So they draw 380 watts at full power. So this is at 100%, this is at 100%, and the camera is connected to the USB charger, and Atomos is also drawing power. Atomos with camera, they will drawing 24 watts, so the rest is, the lights are drawing, and at 57% battery it says it would run that setup for 38 minutes, so plenty enough. If you got full battery, like, you can run it for almost an hour, probably 50-55 minutes. Should be okay for some quick setup, some quick recording. And that's without the light, and that's with the light. A really nice look, at least in my opinion. So it is really hot. I hope I got rid of the highlights on my forehead, and I think that is really successful. I had to swap the stand for the highlight because it's quite heavy. It is more than 1 kg, so I swap it for the heavy-duty C stand, and I'm not afraid it would collapse on me, because with this smaller stand it was like on the verge of collapsing. So, but yeah, that setup is really nice. I got 3 C stands, 2 for the neck or Scrim, 1 for the hairlight. I got normal stand for the panel, because 240C from Nanlite is really light, so it's just normal stand. I got a big stand with the umbrella for the courtesy, and 1 small stand for Atomos and Sachtler for the camera. And that's the look. I think this look might be the best of them all, but I guess it's a personal preference. Some people like darker exposure, some people like brighter exposure, and some people like bigger contrast ratio between the talent and the background. On the screen this looks nice, but this screen lies a bit, so might be the case that I should expose myself higher or lower, or maybe use 6 stops of ND. But with 6 stops, that light won't be enough with this diffusion. But maybe I should switch. I guess I would switch, but I would take off the diffusion. So let me switch to 6 stops. Now I have 6 stops, so definitely the exposure is too dark, and might be the case that even the hairlight is not visible. It is visible to an extent. Yeah, it is. So yeah, it is. But I have the grid on it, so maybe if I remove the grid it would be better. Let me try. But this light was not enough, so let me remove the grid. So the grid is removed, but the light is off. Not sure that would change anything, but yeah, it changed. But now I have the barn doors there, so the barn doors are reflective, and they change the look on my head. I'm not sure I got the, probably not. So yeah, you can even fight 6 stops of ND with this hairlight. At least what I see there. Yeah, exactly. Now it's like much brighter, and I probably don't have the highlights here. I got some highlights here in my hair, so that's what I wanted. But if I move here, then I have the highlight on my forehead, so I shouldn't move there, or maybe I should still close the. Yeah, I guess it's better now, although it's hard to say because it's really dark. So this is probably f2, so it is definitely too dark, although I can actually bring the exposure up in post, but that would be probably a stupid idea. So breathe in and remove the diffusion. And actually a few of the hooks went straight to my nose. Terrible stuff. Okay, so if you like the look with higher contrast ratio, then that's the look. Oh, it is f4.5. So actually that light is able to fight the sun with 6 and 5 stops of ND. With 5 stops you got the pleasure to use this excellent diffusion. I mean, the quality of diffuse light is good, but the diffusion and the hooks are not. So let me check the 80%, f4.2. I think it was, maybe it was 60 something. So at 60 is this f4, it says 5.6, but it is just with 5 stops of ND programmed, so the real exposure is 1 stop lower. So this is the look at f4. I think it's too dark, like the background is too dark with the neck and 6 stops of ND, but if someone likes the high contrast ratio, that's the look. And yeah, the small problem might be that this light at 100% started the fans, so it might be audible, I'm not sure. This one is silent, no fans. This is like the best purchase ever, I'd say. And at 60% it gives the f4 exposure. So maybe I should go to darker look. At 50s at 2.8.6, 53 2.8.7. I guess that's the proper exposure on my face, but I think the background is too dark, so this is the look with 6 stops of ND. So maybe if you want to say that, oh, it's evening or it's night, then you can do it with 6 stops of ND, and this powerful 250 watt panel, it's really amazing. The best panel you can get. I mean, maybe there are better panels for like double or triple or quadruple the price, but at 53% I got proper exposure on my face, and at 60, 63 it is f4, which is, I think, the spot on exposure for S-Log3, but maybe I'm wrong. So this is the full setup with the neck. The lights are actually on, so you have the camera, there, the courtesy for the monitor from the umbrella. It is not the best choice. I guess I would have to buy a pop-up tent, but then with pop-up tent I need some additional bags to weight it down. Then I got the hair light on assistant, and there is the Nanlite 240C, and actually the power brick says something about the 240CL. I'm not sure what the 240CL is. Maybe it's some new model, maybe it's something different, but this is the full setup. And both lights, the headlight from Zhiyun and the key light, are amazing. The power station is in the shadow, and can you see the numbers? Yes, it is now drawing 283 watts and will still work for 39 minutes at 44% of the battery, probably a bit shorter. That would probably turn off at 3 or something percent. The fan is running, but it's not that loud. And the stands are much better than my previous stands. I kinda regret I haven't bought 4 of them. They are now, I think, sold out. No wonder they were like 66% off or 60, I don't remember. But so for me, the look with the neck and 5 stops ND was the best, but I have to review it anyway. So I think that's the wrap for today, and I have to review this on a big monitor and see if this is actually true. But both lights are really nice. I can run them at full power for probably 55 minutes, and with this setup for much longer. I have to review the footage to see what was the power drawn, but at 5 stops the main light could be either run at 100% with the diffusion, or I think it was 20 without the diffusion. So the Nanlite panel is just amazing. It's silent and powerful. So I guess it would be my go-to light for setups like that. Unless someone wants the really soft light, then there is a Godox F600Bi. So I guess that's it, and cheers, mate. Funny thing is that when I was moving the courtesy, the power brick from the camera actually disconnected. Not sure it's visible. Yeah, it's visible. So I guess the power drawn would be like 8 watts more with this, or maybe even 11 watts more if that would be charging the camera. Like for the last 3 shots, I guess the shot with the neck, that was disconnected because I pulled the cable out. So I was kind of lucky that I was able to finish the recording, but the battery is still at 29% in the camera. So a small disclaimer that the setup would draw additional 10 watts if that would be connected.